a weird thing, chums, that I found out about Prince Harry. And this really happens to a lot of people if you're on the public stage and you're doing public speaking, right? You normally have like a thing at the end of it where basically, what did you think to the speaker? Was it invigorating? Did you learn anything? You know, that sort of thing. And I remember that when you went on a cruise, and if you were doing the public speaking, there would be a note put under the door and they would rate you. And basically the rating was, you know, whether you got back on or not, right? I mean, it's that ruthless, you know, it's basically your ratings. Do people like you? Well, what's interesting is Harry recently popped up on not just one, but two very lucrative public speaking events. And these are lucrative, make no mistake, because this is what Harry now needs, in fact, to shore up the money. People say, oh, no, he's very rich. He has very expensive lawyers, very big and expensive outgoings, so you can understand the problems. But behind the scenes, what's fascinating is really what goes on. And in particular, when he popped up on the stage at an LA speaking event and basically pointed out that, well, life in the royal family was a bit like, Downton Abbey, but there was more drama than the TV series. Remember that? As ever, let me explain. Morning, chums, nice to see you. Thank you so much for your time today, and I hope you're keeping well. I love this red sort of brick wall, don't you? I think it's sort of an Edwardian wall, wouldn't it be? Something like that. Incredible when you think, didn't they build things to last in that era? I know we often say that in the nostalgia videos, so we'll have a nice wave. We say that in the nostalgia videos, but it's true, isn't it? Nothing falls down from that era, yeah, because they knew how to build and they had the manpower. And also, I know I'm going off a tangent, but you know, there's ornate things on top of buildings that you think, who got that up there? You know, who was brave enough to sit up there and cement it, you know? Clearly no health and safety in that particular situation, but it's always lovely, isn't it? When you find a spot, I like this spot, absolutely. I won't say, yes, you know where I am, don't you? But the thing is, we don't have to say, let's keep it our secret for a bit longer, absolutely. Now let's get back, of course, to your royal story of the day. This story, to me, is pretty fascinating, genuinely, because, as I said, Harry's now on the public speaking circuit. And the problem with the public speaking circuit is you're only as good as your last public speaker. And basically Harry popped up on the stage of course, this do. And what I find odd about him is he could look so smart. He can turn out to be a very impeccably dressed guy. He has his medals, he has his coronation medal, all of those sort of things. You know, he could look good. And really, it's about star power. So I never understand why Harry turns up looking like he's just finished a stint washing up in the local hotel. You know, tieless, scruffy suit, the shoes not exactly polished to perfection. You are, whether you want to admit it or not, still representing elements of the royal family in your mind, not in the greater world. You get the picture. But what was interesting about this was, as I say, he got up, did this speech, and it was particularly underwhelming. You know, I know that because I have a source who was sat there. And really what it is, it's the rubbernecking situation with Harry. You can't quite believe that you're in a room with a royal who stood next to, say, our late and brilliant monarch, Queen Elizabeth. You're paying for the privilege, but of course you're not really going to get any close. And when he walked in, they were instructed that they had to get up and applaud. And when he finished the speech, they had to get up and applaud. Now, is this a man whose ego is not particularly unfragile? Do you know what I'm saying? Why would you need that? If you've done a good job, it's like if you're performing on the stage, the audience know it, they hear you hit that top note and they go, he's made an effort, she's made an effort, let's show our appreciation. Clearly, Harry underwhelmed them. But what was fascinating was this, that everybody in the audience, and including the people backstage and those people around him, were instructed not to go up and ask anything regarding his father-in-law, the father-in-law that he's never met, never seen, and only had 2 conversations with, Thomas Markle. Now, apparently, the team basically said that, you know, it's a delicate time, etc. And Harry finds this very upsetting and disturbing. You'd like to think that, wouldn't you? But there is his wife claiming, of course, that she couldn't find the hospital that she was supposed to be ringing because she doesn't have her father's number now. This is a woman, literally a week ago, telling us that her Netflix show is all about family, friends and being connected, and how it's all about, you know, the right people at the right time and enjoying the right moments. Humanitarians not. But they were not allowed to do this. And it's a weird thing, isn't it? Because if you met somebody like that, and you know, for instance, that a family member is going through an horrific time, as Thomas Markle is, you might just reach out and say, I'm sorry to hear about that. You know, I hope things are okay with you. Not a tinker. And he never mentioned it at all, not wanting to get involved in it. So my thing would be on this, and this is just my personal thoughts, but really, how can you stand there and claim that you are caring, humanitarians, all about service, looking out for others, you know, show up, do good, all of that rubbish, and consequently, the person who you are related to, whether you like it or not, Harry, you could have made just a remark on the world stage about him to let the rest of the media know. But you know what? As I've told you before, he dare not speak without Markle say so. And the bottom line for Harry is, unless she gives that say so, well then Thomas is receiving no love from either of them. Whichever way, those people paid a lot of money, according to my spy in the audience, to hear a whole lot of nothing. And the only good thing they did was see a former royal up close. But apparently, even that wasn't good enough. Neil Sean in the very heart of the United Kingdom.